and welcome to the 2020 Choir Awards, the first ever digital choir awards. So obviously we've had a pretty crazy year, and I guess, we're going to talk about several things here at the awards and lots of things to celebrate this year. But first, I just want to point out that I've got this homemade Darth Vader mask that Mama and Silas sort of helped with. That's one of the projects we've been working on here at the house when we are not chasing Silas around. We have these nice Darth Vader, Star Wars sheets in the background. Mainly Krista's idea. She thought it'd be really classy. So first, you're going to hear from Lori, and then after that, we're going to get on with some more awards.
I would like to start by saying how much I am going to miss this group of seniors. I have watched them grow up, and they all have a special place in my heart. I am sad that you didn't know your last were going to be your last. I know in my heart you would have been grand champions at Ben Davis and been in the top 10 at state. I will miss you all more than you know, and I can't wait to see where your futures take you. Shoot for the stars. The class of 2020 is going to do great things. I love you all. I have enjoyed being involved with choir the last 4 years and being the president for 3 of those years. I have made many wonderful friendships, and I am really going to miss this group of kids. I know we are all grieving the abrupt ending to the choir year, but I look forward to watching the choirs next year. At this time, I want to thank my officers, Tanya Scott, Secretary, Stacy Freeman and Jody Brill, Ways and Means, Julie Epling and Nicole Gibson, Lucas Oil, Krista Dameron and Melody Halstead, Spotlighter Invitational, Tracy Grimes, Decals and Spirit Shirts, Wendy Gwynn, Fundraising, Angela White, Spads VP and Spads Camp, Abby Butterfield, Finesse VP and Finesse Overnighter, Amanda Tabscott, Nexus VP, Jen Reed, Millennium VP and Madrigal Dinner, Aaron Pipkin, Marketing and Programs, and Spencer DePoy, Crew Chief. I also want to give a shout out to Alan Eicher for driving the equipment truck to our competitions the last 4 years, and all the parents that worked backstage and chaperoned. They are all an important part of our competitions. I want to thank the numerous parent volunteers from helping with fundraiser distributions, taking tickets, making food, donating items, chaperoning, picking up prop stuff, and all the other volunteer needs we had. Sometimes we even needed stuff done last minute. Anytime I sent out a need, I would get several people step up and make it happen. Lastly, I want to thank Jason Dameron. 3 years ago, when he asked me to be president, I said no way. I went home that night and really thought about it and decided to go for it. And I have no regrets. I am truly going to miss working with him on choir stuff, but I'm thankful I still get to work with him every day at school. He is such a great role model for our children. He takes the time to talk to them if they need help with homework or a personal issue. Thank you so much, Krista, for being so understanding of the long hours he puts in to make our choirs so successful. I love you both so much. I'm going to miss you all and look forward to continuing to support our choirs next year. Thank you.
Welcome back from hearing from Lori. I also want to point out this nice tie that I have here. This is a gift for me. It's made out of finesse dresses not from this year, the year before. It's pretty cool. I guess I'm holding up so I can see it. So here's this cool tie here. I'm wearing that. And before some of you get all worried, don't worry. There could possibly be a dress change here in the middle of the awards. But I was going to wear this to spring spec this year. Obviously we didn't have it, but I have like some sparkly shoes to match this. Another really heartwarming gift that I got last year. So, all right, so I want to do a few thanks myself. While we're doing this kind of stuff here, and first I just want to thank Alan Eicher. Alan has been helping out for, honestly, I don't know how many years now, 10 years now, I'm not sure, a ton. He drives the truck for us a lot. He's always there to help load. And in conjunction with that, I also want to thank Ashton Eicher. Ashton has also been so helpful. Again, always there at the competitions, always helping to load. There to get the truck ready and unload it, and just all that kind of stuff. He helps micromanage a lot of that stuff that really just takes a lot of extra people. And those two have been helping out a lot, especially Alan, the past several years. We're like losing the Eicher family. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do next year. Next, I want to thank Jen Reed. Jen, this was her first year helping out with the Madrigal dinner, and it went really, really well. And I know she's not the only person who helped out with the dinner, but she has done a ton of stuff for us. And it's just the Madrigal dinner was so awesome. And I just can't thank her enough for doing all of that. And, we had a smooth transition to Mount Gilead this year, and that's a lot due to the work that she put in. Next, I want to thank Stacy Freeman and Jody Brill. They're our treasurers, and I know that Lori said something about them already, but it's a big job for somebody to handle, and they helped kind of put it online this year through QuickBooks, which was really awesome to be able to cut down on some stuff that was coming into the office as far as money goes, like into my office, and they've done a good job of keeping all these records and things. It's just a lot of work, and so I really appreciate all that they have done. Next, I want to thank Melody and Krista. There are invitational chairs, and we all know how much work the invitational is, but it's just so awesome to see those two work together, and neither of them has a child in choir, obviously. So it's just so awesome that they work together, and they know how to split it up, and they've been doing it for a while now together, and so it goes really smoothly. We had record numbers this year and record sales. That's a lot due to their hard work that they put in, and Krista was super pregnant when the invitational happened, and so it's a lot of work, and so I really appreciate all that they did. Next, I want to thank Spencer DePoy. Spencer has really stepped up this year and been helping backstage a lot, and honestly just doing a ton of stuff. He's the kind of person that when I say, hey, can you get this done? He's like, no problem. I remember a time this year when he went out and made all these boxes that had been described to him, and he did a lot of work for those, and then the boxes ended up being not the right size, a little bit of miscommunication. And I know that if somebody would have told me, hey, I told you the wrong numbers, I would have been kind of ticked off that I just spent all that time, but he just said, okay, no problem. And he went home and fixed them and brought them back a couple of days later. And it's just, that's the kind of stuff that he's done all year round, and I really appreciate all of his help. Next, I want to thank Jennifer Toney. It's so nice to have Jennifer back with us. And, that's one of the reasons we were so successful this year for show choir. It's the main reason, I would say, because Jennifer came back, and her show ideas and how enthusiastic she is, and how hard she pushes everyone to work is just so awesome, and it's just so refreshing to have somebody who really, really cares about the program be working with us again. And so, I hope that we're supporting her and what she's doing. And I just also, I just can't thank her enough for everything she's done. The last group I want to thank is my family. Every year they sacrifice so much for me to be involved as we are, and it's just so evident, this year since I got to spend all this extra time with my family these past couple months, and that's something I have never been able to do. I've never been able to watch my kids as they were very, very little, growing up. And so it's nice to be able to spend this time with them, but, I appreciate just all the time that they allow me to go and do other things to be with, my students. And it's just so nice, they just sacrifice a lot. And, even at the beginning of this year, we still had all of our competitions, almost all of our competitions. And so I'm gone every single weekend with them, and all those hours of rehearsal. And again, I just, the amount of time that I have to put in for us to be successful, they have to sacrifice a lot. And to have somebody be so, especially Chris, to be so supportive of what I do and to help out whenever she can, like sewing all those things for the patches that we had this year on the robes, and just different things like that to help out as well. Okay, the last we have a Volunteer of the Year award. It's the Dale DePoy Volunteer of the Year award, and obviously you've heard of the DePoy family because I just talked about Spencer, and Owen is in, and this award. Now I didn't know Dale, like this award came about before I was before I was teaching here, but I met Dale before. He's a great guy, and just based on the way Spencer acts and behaves, you can tell that Dale was such a hard worker, and I'm sure that's where Spencer gets a lot of his work ethic. So we have this Dale DePoy Volunteer of the Year award, and this year that goes to Lori Smith, and I don't think that's any surprise. Lori, for the past, Lori could have gotten this award, her first year here, the first week. She's just worked so hard for us, and I'm not kidding when I say that every day of the school year, I'm either in her office or she's down in mine, and we're talking about something with choir. And it's just like, it was a part of my daily routine during my prep period, first period. And it's just that she put in just so much time for us. And, it's hard to replace somebody like that. And she's so selfless. And, I think that she has, come out of her shell a little bit. She used to be afraid to speak in front of people. She's like, oh, I'm not doing this. And she's come such a far way to be able to do that and lead those meetings. And, again, she's somebody that no matter what, if I ask something to get done, it got done. And that's the most important thing when we have the president, just because there's so many we cannot function here, as a choir program without the awesome parents that we have. And Lori really led us through there. I have an award for Lori, but it's not here right now. But I'll get that to her, soon. In case you didn't see the trip update, I put out an email last week, or actually I'm not sure when this airs, but I put out an email a little while ago about the trip update, but just make sure you check that email. It's just stating that I moved it to next year's school year's trip, and in hopes that everything will be clear then. I don't know. Again, this is tentative and nothing's been approved, but that's just what I'm hoping for next year. But please check your email on that. If you have sent me an email that says, hey, this senior has decided not to go, I'm sure I've gotten it. I don't respond to all those. I just kind of put them in a folder, and I'll get back to everybody once I get a little more details. Okay, next we're going to do our individual choir awards. And so these awards were voted on by the students, most of them. And I think these students take a lot of time to think about these. And this year, obviously the voting was all done online, but it actually saved a little bit of time because I could count the votes for me. So, okay, I'll talk a little bit about each choir before we do it. So first is Sensations. And this year's Sensations group, we had a rough start, let's just say. It took a lot. It took a lot of work to get where we are, where we ended the year. And I'm confident that they would have gotten a gold at ISMA. They were doing such a good job. And when we left, we were already on the risers working, we had all our ISMA stuff memorized. We were working on the risers on little details. And so they were doing an awesome job. And so I know that they would have gotten a gold. Unfortunately, we just didn't get a chance to do it. But they've worked really hard this year, and they've come such a far way, especially in the second semester. And so here's their awards. The first award is the Spirit Award, and the Spirit Award is, the students vote for somebody who is really positive, and has a good work ethic and things like that. And so this year's Spirit Award for Sensations is Karis Eicher. And, Crystal's clapping in the background. Make sure everybody's cheering at home. Is Karis, and you may think, wait a minute, Karis is in madrigals, and that's true. But Karis and Mary and a tiny bit of Peyton were in Sensations the second semester, and so, man, it really helped out so much. But it's not only, Karis is obviously a good singer, but it's more about, the girls recognize that she has such a positive attitude and in that class, and she really motivated those girls. And you could kind of see her side helping out other girls sometimes. So I might be working with the soprano ones, and Karis, I made her a second in there, and so she would help out the seconds a little bit and tell them. And so anyway, I think that they just saw that she came in to work hard every day, and it was really awesome to have her in there. The most improved award is one that I pick, and that goes to Laura Farmer. Yes. Laura, later I can add in some clapping tracks to all these. Laura, she started out, okay, so last year Laura just had not the best attitude. I'm sure Laura will tell you. She wasn't like 100% of the choir. I mean, there were like, I don't know how many times she would like tie her shoe, which means she was like leaning down to try to get, to her phone or get something out of her purse, and she wasted a bunch of time. And she knows this, but man, she has come around this year, and a couple weeks into the year, I don't know what happened, but she decided that she was going to start working really hard and made a difference. I mean, she's in a trio this year for at Wagon Trails, and she just really turned around and has done a good job on big improvements. Our outstanding vocalist award goes to Caitlin Colors. Caitlin, great job. Caitlin, man, she was one who kind of at the beginning of the year was a little reserved for just a while, and then has just recently, especially the past, let's say, second semester, really started singing out and really doing an awesome job. And so, it's cool that the girls recognize that, in a situation where there's not a whole lot of solo opportunities, that someone like Caitlin, how good of a job she did. Next is Millennium. So Millennium this year has also done a great job. Again, they for sure were going to get a gold at ISMA and a golden sight reading. I know it. They were just doing such a good job. We also had our music memorized, and we were working on the risers and things like that on little details before we left. And so they were in great shape for ISMA. And I think they had the whole group has really improved a lot this year, just in general of tone quality and their ability to perform, and just in general, there's some really great singers have come out of this group, and performers really have come out of this group. The first award for Millennium is the Spirit Award, and that goes to Olivia Regal. Regal is this. We have two Olivias in there, so I just call her Regal. But Regal, man, has been so excited for choir since she started, this year, and you could tell it's a real passion for her. And she, she's always seeking to learn more. She asked us, to stay after to like get help with sight reading, or she was, constantly asking about like auditions, and she wanted, I think, what was best for her and best for the group. And she just worked so hard this year. Next is Most Improved, and that goes to Wyatt McClellan. Wyatt, man, I picked Wyatt because at the beginning of the year, Wyatt was struggling a little bit with pitch and just on his confidence level. He's like 6'7", and so when you perform and you're really tall, you either have to get it right or you're going to stick out. And he's done a much better job of performing at the end of the year, and singing-wise, he's gotten a lot better. He's way more confident. I was so glad when he auditioned for next year, and so I'm so happy that he stayed in the choir department. But Wyatt has done a great job. Our outstanding performer, this really isn't a big surprise, but outstanding performer goes to Emma Moeller. Only a couple claps for that one, I guess. Emma, man, I remember when we first started learning the choreography for our song, and then she, we came back like the next day or whatever, and I thought, oh my gosh, this girl is good. And she always knew the choreography and was performing so well. I mean, even right from the beginning. If I ever had a question in class, what's that move? Emma always knew it. And gosh, she just does such a great job. And so, I can understand why they voted her best performer. I mean, she was really shining on the stage. Our outstanding vocalist goes to Cora Walker. Cora, Cora's a great singer, but I think she had a solo for us this year in the show, which was really good. She had such a great sound on that solo. And she's also a really good sight reader. And so she led that class in sight reading, which is a big deal when you have freshmen who are all new to this type of sight reading that we do at the high school. And just the confidence that she has on her part, and all of that contributed to why she got that award. Next up is Nexus. And this year's Nexus, man, have also come such a far way. This is the coolest thing. I mean, one of the coolest things I think about this year is that for the first time ever in history, Nexus made finals at a competition, which was so cool. And, it's just that they worked really hard on their show. And I mean, it was a great show, but they worked really hard on it. And I think that you can see how much they enjoy being in choir the further throughout the year that we went. They just got better and better at what they were doing, both vocally and in their show. The Spirit Award goes to Connor Cassidy. Connor. So Connor, he deserves a Spirit Award. Actually, this is the second year he's gotten it, I'm pretty sure. I think he got it last year. But Connor is, he's like positive, and he's just like, I don't know how to explain it, like in your face all the time. That's the best way to say it. Meaning like he's just, he's not afraid to speak out and say like, to get people like to motivate people or like clap for people when they do solos or just that kind of stuff. His personality is fun and he enjoys choir. And so, people could see that that it's just like he makes the room a more fun place when he's in there. The Most Improved Award goes to Mackenzie Alexander. Mackenzie has come a long way since the beginning of the year, and even since a little bit last year. I know when you come to a new place, it's really hard to make friends, to fit in, and as a freshman at Nexus, I mean, there's a couple in there, but makes people nervous as a freshman to be in there because you're in a high school choir, but you're in the intermediate group. It's really hard. So her confidence has grown so much, both performing and singing wise, and she's really she's fitting in really well, and it's been so fun to watch her grow this year and how much better she's really gotten. Our outstanding performer in Nexus goes to Lily Warfield. Lily, man, I moved Lily this year from an alto last year to a soprano this year, mainly because we needed more sopranos. And I taught Lily lessons last summer, and I thought, man, I'm moving her. And, at first she's a little hesitant, but she really grew into the role. And then her performing, gosh, she has just been doing such an awesome job this year. She's really good at remembering the choreography, but it's not just about that. She's really good at performing what she's doing, and you could tell she practiced a lot at home, and really when she was on the stage was like smiling and really enjoyed what she was doing. Our last award for Nexus is the Outstanding Vocalist Award, and that goes to Beth Kuhn. Great job, Beth. Beth's one of our friends here at the house. Not that I'm at the house, but if I were at my house. No, I'm at my house. Beth is one of our friends here because she comes over and helps babysit Silas and some of our other Silas's friends during church small group. But Beth has done a great job this year vocally. She has a solo. And it's not only that, but she really sings out on her part. And you can, when we're learning things, she's singing out, and she's really confident with her part, and just really confident in general as a singer, which is really awesome. And so, great job to Beth. Next, we have Finesse. Finesse this year has just been so awesome and so fun. Their show was, really crazy. And I've never been able to say that a group has made finals every single time they've gone out, but Finesse made finals everywhere we went. We got second or third basically every week. They scored really high in concert choir. They made finals at North Central again. Gosh, and it's just it's a little bit disheartening because I really feel like Finesse was going to make state finals this year for concert choir, We had the music, we had the talent, we had the work ethic. And that's the thing about this group. They just worked so hard. It was just so awesome. Um, they really embraced our show. And some of those girls had this, I mean, imagine saying, okay, you're going to make crazy faces, go. And they just did it. And man, they worked so hard. And, they owned everything that we did this year. And they just got better and better and better. Our first award is the Spirit Award, and that goes to Kenzie Taylor. Kenzie, man, she's just so positive in class, and the girls, really they can tell that she makes the group a lot better, and she just it was almost like she was sort of like a mom as in the group, and always trying to help the other girls out in a positive way. Though she wasn't bossy or anything, she just did everything in such a positive manner that it really affected a lot of the girls. Our Most Improved Award also goes to Kenzie Taylor. Kenzie, man, she deserved this. I knew she was going to get this award at the beginning of the year. A couple weeks in. Last year, Kenzie just did a fine job. I mean, she did a good job, but she just wasn't confident. I mean, she didn't really try out for solos or, the Magical Dinner ensembles or anything. And, man, this year she leads her section in sight reading. She has tried out for so many things and has done such an awesome job. And, that's the kind of difference. I mean, that's why she's in Madrigals next year. I knew that after watching her after a couple of months, I was like, this girl's in Madrigals next year just because of how hard she worked. And she's made great strides this year on improving so much. Our Outstanding Performer goes to Allie Graber. This is hard. I mean, all the performing this year was so difficult because, again, they were like really in these characters. And so it's not only just about learning the choreography and knowing that, but, it's also about, how hard do you work to develop that character in your show and your story. And Allie did such an awesome job. And, Allie had to miss, here and there for basketball, but she was so dedicated still to the group and so dedicated to making every part of practice that she could and just working so hard. And so I appreciate all that Allie did. Our Outstanding Vocalist Award goes to Bree Leibarger. Bree, man, her voice is so beautiful. She, and it's just gotten better and better. I remember at the beginning of the year, we were singing some individual things and singing in small quartets at the very beginning of the year. And so I had Bree sing, and her voice was so pretty, but it was like trapped inside. And she was like, well, what do you think? And I said, I talked to her like individual. I said, Bree, you need to sing out way more. She said, louder than that? And I mean, Bree was at like a 4 out of 10 on volume. I said, yes, Bree, like twice the amount of sound. And she took that to heart and just started singing out more and more. And gosh, her voice is just so awesome now. And it's truly an awesome voice, and I'm excited to see where it goes. All right, the last group we're talking about today is Spotlighters and Madrigals. This group, again, what an incredible year. They made finals multiple times for show choir, which is awesome. They made finals for concert choir at North Central and did really well there. Again, I feel like we were on our road to state finals for concert choir. Just such an awesome job by this group. And it was a really cool group to be, the teacher of. They're just a bunch of goofy weirdos, honestly. But it was such a fun time. We had a really good Magical Dinner, and they put in a lot of work on that music. And we had a lot of good motivators and leaders in this group. First award goes to, is the Spirit Award, and that goes to Abby Grimes. Abby is so passionate about choir, especially concert choir. Actually, one of the songs that we did this year was a suggestion from her. She gave me a huge document full of suggestions and what she thinks about every single song on the Group 1 list for concert choir, which is crazy. And so she's really passionate about it. She has a good positive attitude, and she really tries to get the other members of class to kind of share that passion. Most Improved Award goes to Alex Stewart. Alex's voice has just really, really developed this year. And, he had a solo last year in Nexus, which was good. But gosh, his resonance and tone quality has just gotten so deep and rich. When he sang his audition song, which I wish you guys could have heard, it's that "Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone."
Ain't No Sunshine When
Oh, is that what it's called? Great, "Ain't No Sunshine." I'm not good with titles of songs, but he sang that song, and sometimes people say they're going to sing that song, and I'm like, oh, okay, what's this going to be? But he sang it, you know, kind of an octave lower than the original artist, the version that he did, but it was so good. And so his voice has just really developed this year. Our outstanding male performer is Devin Byers. Man, Devin, such a good job this year. He got it last year too, really, so I kind of expected this again. But Devin, not only is he good, obviously he's a good dancer, but he's such a good performer. He really gets into his role, what he's supposed to be doing, and his face just kind of lights up on the stage. He also did an awesome job. I know this isn't part of the voting necessarily, but he did an awesome job in Finesse this year. He went to lots of rehearsals for that as well, for his role in their show. Our outstanding female performer is Olivia Brimage. Olivia, I watched her so many times in practices, and I thought, gosh, she's just so on it. Olivia works so hard. I don't know if she works at home or not, I'm guessing, because she's so good at the choreography, but it's not only that, but her face during all the rehearsals, she's really practicing how to have a good face and what that means. And so, she's really deserving of this. Vocal awards are really hard, I think, in madrigals, you know, as well as finesse, just because of the difficulty of the literature that we do, and it's not just about solos. Our outstanding male vocalist is Keegan Adams. Keegan is, obviously he's a good singer. I mean, he was our Harry Potter, and part of that audition to be Harry Potter, the main thing really was the performing, but also like that solo at the beginning of the show. And so he has a good voice there, but he helps lead vocally a lot in class as well. I can count on him to nail his part, and it's a relief to have people in sections where you say, okay, I know the baritones are going to get it because Keegan's singing with them or whatever. So Keegan has done a great job this year helping with that. Our outstanding female vocalist goes to Katie Schaefer. Katie's voice is angelic. I could listen to Katie's voice all day. I love listening to Katie's voice. Gosh, when she was singing her solos or anything like that. And, you know, she's been working hard. She's to get into Ball State Singers and all that kind of stuff. Her voice is so awesome, and I've thought that for multiple years now, but especially this year, it's just really blossomed. And she sang some solos for us at the Magical Dinner, at Wagon Trails, and just, all that kind of stuff, and I just love listening to her voice. So those are all of our individual choir awards. After this, we're going to go through, next is the 3-year awards. And so these are, these are people who earn a letter. You get a choir letter. It's like a big M that goes on your letter jacket. It's got the word choir written in there, and your numerals. Again, I have all these, and I'll just hand them out next year, I guess. I ordered these a while ago, and I have them at the school, and I had them before we left, but they're obviously at school. So, okay, so here are this will be really quick. The letter winners for 3-year members: Keegan Adams, Isaac Blessing, Cameron Brewster, Ellie Brill, Brenna Callahan, Lizzie Chastain, Daniel Cornett, Madeline Courier, Kylie Gwynn, Anthony Heverin, Trinity Lee, Blake Maher, Allie Mann, Ainsley Marshall, Elena Mason, Malia McClellan, Elizabeth McClelland, Zoe McGuire, Marissa Metter, Caitlin Mendenhall, Logan Payton, Kayla Peterson. Oh, Kayla, nope. I like you, Kayla, but not a 3-year member. So Matthew Phillips, Sam Pipkin, Gage Richardson, Michaela Rickelman, Katie Richmond, Taylor Sconce, Grace Stanton, Josh Stumpf, Jenna Tackett, Kenzie Taylor, and Nicole Wise. So yay to all of our 3-year members. Normally they come up on the stage and we clap for them, and so you can clap at home and just know how awesome they are. Okay, great. We'll be back after this with some more awards. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the senior part of the awards. So you can notice a little bit of a scenery change here. And actually, this is the second time I've recorded this video. which is, I don't know how long it was, probably an hour and a half. The first time, let me tell you a little story. The first time, I had the videos on my phone. I went to pull it off my phone to put it on my computer so I could put it into Premiere, which is what I use to make the videos and things like that, and like put it all together to put it on YouTube. And for some reason, it would not come off my phone, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. I thought, well, I'll just sync my phone with my computer. You know, I hadn't done it in a little while. I thought that might help. It did not help, and in fact, it like bogged down my phone, and it said, my phone said, you know, no more room on my phone. Although I know I did have room on my phone. So when it tried to sync, it messed up. I don't know. And then I thought, well, I'll reset my phone, and that way it'll kind of bring things back. Because I tried to delete a couple of other things. I went in my recently deleted folder, and it wouldn't let me expunge those things. And I thought, that's weird. So I thought I'd reset my phone. Guess what? That was a mistake. So now my phone is continuously stuck on a loop of trying to reload itself. Like it just comes up with the Apple logo, then shuts off, then comes back up with the Apple logo, and it just keeps doing it over and over. So I tried to fix this. I looked online for a couple things, and I thought, I'll contact Apple support. Let me read you the transcription. I saved it. Let me read you the transcription between me and Denise at Apple support. And I just want to show you how. Now, imagine how frustrated you'd already be when you don't have access to the things on your phone and you need them. So, like, right now I'm recording this Wednesday. I'd already recorded this Tuesday so that it would be all ready to go. I should have been done last night with everything uploaded, ready to go. You know, I have a little crisis time in there in case we have a crisis like I did. So anyway, I thought they might be able to support me here. So here's what she says. Thanks for contacting Apple support. My name is Denise. How can I help you? I said, my iPhone is stuck on the Apple logo and is continually trying to reboot. I already plugged it into my computer and updated it through iTunes. Because that's what you're supposed to do, because you can update it through iTunes and it will hopefully reset your phone and you'll be good to go. Mine didn't. So then she says, hello, how are you? You are needing assistance restoring your phone, is that correct? And so then I thought, is this really a person or is this a computer program? Anyway, so then I said, I want my phone to turn on. She says, okay, what type of phone do you have? Now, mind you, this conversation is taking a long time. It's taking like 30 seconds for her to respond. I said, iPhone X. She said, press and quickly release the volume up button, press and quickly release the volume down button, then press and hold the side button until you see the Apple logo. Now again, I already explained that the only thing I see is the Apple logo. So I said, did you read my previous message? Yes, I did. We are going to try to restart the device using the steps mentioned. I said, the Apple logo is constantly on the phone and then it restarts and does it again. She said, even after you try the steps? I said, yes, I did it before and it's happening after. She said, okay, thank you for trying. Do you have a computer? I said, I mentioned earlier that I plugged it into my computer, so yes, I have a computer. It's plugged in right now. I'm getting a little frustrated. She said, oh, I'm sorry you did mention that. We are going to update and restore via your computer. Do you have a Mac or PC? PC. She said, then she types in these instructions about what you're supposed to do. Now, again, I said, if this is the same process I went through earlier, I'm not sure why I would do it again. I did recovery mode. Anyway, I explained, I literally already explained that I did this at the very beginning of the conversation. So then I said, you know, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I don't want to spend another 30 minutes waiting while I do the exact same thing, because it takes 30 minutes for it to like update your phone. She said, I completely understand your frustration. We can take a look at service options for you. Then there's like pause for a while. When did this first occur? A few hours ago, blah, blah, blah. You were trying to update the software? No. So I explained it again. She said, I see. Okay, what does your screen say now? I I already told you what my screen shows. It's the Apple logo. So I just typed in, never mind, this is infuriating. I already explained this, and I just left the conversation. I think I'm going to have to reset my phone completely. Like and restore it back to factory default. So, I don't know. I'll probably do that later. Hey, there's a great story for you to start out your evening. Okay. Also, in the background, you might hear, I mean, you can see this cage here. This cage is for when the kids are bad. You may hear in the background some dancing and singing in Jennifer Tony's voice. That's because Riley is currently attending her camp, which she's having a lot of fun with. Riley's been teaching me her dances, and it's been pretty awesome. Okay. Now I want you to notice this tie. Not sure exactly if you can see it really well here, but this is a tie that that Abby got me. Abby was my secret snow buddy, and that's one of the things she got me was this tie. And so it's like a sentimental thing. This is like those sophomore girls, and like when they were in Finesse, or were they in Finesse? I don't even know what choir they were in. I think they were in Finesse. It's hard to see. It doesn't matter. And so like, it's a really kind of a cool tie, so I wanted to wear it today. I was going to wear it to the awards, and so here we are at the awards. And so, yeah, I wanted to wear that. I thought it was kind of cool. So first, I just want to say that, for the senior class, I try not to make this segment of the awards too long, but I do feel like that, every senior is worth recognition, and these seniors have put in a ton of time. The least I can do is spend a couple minutes on each person talking about them. And, for a lot of these people, I could talk for a long time about, stories and different things. And I try not to, I don't know, I try not to go too long on anyone or anything like that. But I do feel like each senior deserves recognition. So, so I just wanted to make that statement first. Okay, so this senior class in general, it's just been a really close class to me. I feel really close to them, and they are really crazy. This is like, I've talked about my sophomore girls. That's like all these girls who were there. They were in, some of them were in Finesse at that time. A lot of them were, but some were in other choirs, like maybe Nexus. But it's just like this senior class of girls that's just so crazy when they get together. And we had so much fun together, and so they collectively became known as that group. I don't know if you've ever seen them try to have a conversation with me, but they will, this happens, I don't know, all the time really, but they will all bombard me, and they'll be like talking to each other, and like, it's like they have to one-up each other on the stories, and they're just like, no, and they just go constantly, and like, it's like, I think it's overwhelming. I think anybody who watched the conversation would be like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And that's kind of how I feel. It's like, what's going on? But they just feed off of each other and keep going. One day at a competition, we were talking about something about they lose letters, like the word respect. They're supposed to have respect for each other. And then I think Abby's mom does this in her classroom. You lose a letter if you're not being respectful to the other people. And I got involved in this somehow. So anyway, there's just a lot going on with this group of people. They tell me all their boy issues all the time. I feel like I know whose boyfriend's what and who's got a date, who had a date for prom, and I don't know, man. But I feel like I know a lot about that. Let me show you this though. So I got this cool mug. You can see this is when they were in Finesse. And they signed it here. It says, so Olivia got me this, Olivia Brimage. I think she got it for me, maybe it was during their sophomore year, and she had this done. She had them all sign this. Looks like a piece of paper or a napkin. Doesn't matter, but it's like on here, and it's really cool because we're all together at this competition. And I use this mug every day with my 95% orange juice and 5% apple juice. That's what I have every morning for when I have my breakfast. And so it's a really special mug. And, Olivia, maybe something a little more creative than have an awesome day would have been nice. Just kidding. She said that weren't that many choices. I think it was either that or beach life, maybe. But I appreciate this, and so I use it every day. And even, I like the slogan because it does, I do think about like, have an awesome day, like, okay, it's like a little bit of a motivator. Another thing that I keep up in my house is this picture. Not sure what you can see here, but this is when a lot of these girls were in Millennium as freshmen. And I don't know why, but they randomly took this picture of me teaching, and they sent it to Krista saying like, I'm not sure, maybe it's like a Christmas card or something, but it's a cool thing. So I just keep it on my fridge, actually. We keep it up there, and it's just kind of a cool thing for us to, for me to look at every day, every morning again, and so it kind of motivates me for my day. So this is just a really special class to me, and I just want to start out by saying that before I talk about the seniors. Okay, so the first senior I thought I would talk about today is Kirsten Woodward. Kirsten would have been, for those of you who don't know Kirsten, she passed away in a car crash last year, like when she was a junior, school year, right around magical dinner time. And so she'd be a senior, this year. And so I just thought I'd talk about her and when I'm talking here. So Kirsten, I can't claim to know her super well or anything. She auditioned her 8th grade year to be in choir at the high school and made Millennium, but then she transferred to Heron and went there for a few years, and then came back to us her junior year, and she made Finesse when she auditioned. And I got to know her obviously some, because she was there, and there's just a few stories and things I remember about Kirsten. The first is, gosh, this girl is weird. She was like kooky weird. I don't know how to explain it. For example, for Finesse overnight, the girls dress up in Halloween costumes. We have like a costume thing, and she dressed up as like Edward Scissorhands. It was a really cool costume, but who even knows about Edward Scissorhands? I don't even know. It's just like stuff like that makes her kind of quirky. She was funny. I remember a time when we were sitting it was during the Invitational, and this was before she was coming back to the high school. So it might have been when she was a freshman or a sophomore. It's hard for me to remember. But it was like there's a couple of us just sitting in the invitation. Now, during the Invitational, it's crazy, and I am nuts crazy all day. But for some reason, during that time when she was there, a couple of us were just chilling in the main office area where I have to answer a bunch of questions, and like I had no interruptions, and we just talked for probably an hour. And so I remember having a conversation with her then. And it was just, I remember things about that conversation. I know that Kirsten was a really caring person for a lot of people. All the stories that after she passed away, like the next day, we all kind of got in a big circle in the choir room in a couple classes, and we talked about it. And all the stories of just how caring she was to so many people, it was like heartwarming. And a lot of stuff I didn't even know about, just stuff that she would do for people. And probably not a lot of people knew about it, but just stuff she would do for people just because she's so kind. And that's something I remember about Kirsten. I remember about all those stories. I keep in my binder, my choir binder, I keep her Celebration of Life program in there. And it reminds me that, it reminds me of the person that she was, and to help others, be sort of like that. But it also, makes me think, reminds me that if I have something to say to somebody, I need to say it. If you want to say thank you to someone, if you appreciate somebody, if if they just did something really nice for you, they need to know that they're appreciated. And I think that, because you just never know, if you're going to be able to talk to them again about that. So I keep that in there as a reminder that, it's just really important to be like that, I think, for people. If you have something to say, you should say it. And so I just want to recognize Kirsten a little bit. Crazy girl, but she's just the first senior I wanted to talk about before I got into the alphabetical list. Next, our first senior alphabetically here is Adrian Baldwin. Adrian is one of our seniors in Finesse. You're going to hear that a lot. We had a lot of seniors this year in Finesse. And it's so helpful to have those seniors in there because they've been through it before, and they can really, they can help motivate the class, help lead the class. Adrian has come such a long way since she was a freshman. Gosh. Adrian she's never been like super aggressive. I mean, even as a senior, she's not super aggressive, but she was just, it's almost like you wouldn't notice her in the room, when she was a freshman. She just kept to herself. And but the thing about Adrian is she's deceivingly good. It's like, again, you wouldn't notice her if she wasn't doing something extra, but but she would come up for, like, let's say, audition for small group or something for Magical Dinner, like the ensemble group. And I'd say, think, gosh, that was really good, but it's not like I would expect it because she's just not an overly aggressive person. But we really appreciate everything that Adrienne has done for us in the choir program, and I appreciate like how hard she's worked, to be in Finesse and to help that group a lot. Next is Peyton Batchelor. Peyton is one of the Madrigal's presidents this year, and has been really helpful in that manner. I ask so much of presidents and things and officers in the choirs, and so she's done a lot in that regard, and I appreciate it. She's become such a strong singer. I remember her audition for her solo in the show this year, and I was, obviously I know she's a good singer, but when she auditioned, I thought, oh, wow, that was like really good. She came across really strong and like really performing, and it's like she really wanted it, and she got it. It was awesome. It was so her voice has become so strong, the past couple of years. A couple of things I remember about Peyton. One is I remember when Peyton had she had a problem with her phone, and I had to use her iPad for everything. It was really funny. This is the thing I remember most about Peyton. When she was really all the time, she had to ask her mom permission for everything. And not like normal stuff that like you'd ask your mom permission for. It's not like that, but it's like, here's this pencil here, and it's like if I say, okay, everybody, bring a pencil, bring this pencil tomorrow to school, Peyton would be like, I gotta go text my mom about it. Like she had to ask her mom permission if it's okay she brought the pencil. Or like, hey everybody, everyone's gonna have a drink of water today. She had to like, I gotta ask my mom if I can have a drink of water today. And so, it maybe wasn't that extreme. But she did ask her mom about a lot. You can ask any of her friends. She used to ask her all the time. She probably still does, honestly. It's great to check with your mom. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes Peyton was a little over the top. Next is Allie Benge. Allie's another senior in Finesse. And I'm really glad that Allie, I kind of forced her to do it, but I'm really glad that Allie auditioned for an advanced group. Allie was kind of stuck in some of the lower, younger ensembles, just because she just wouldn't audition, for the upper ones. And I finally was like, Allie, what do you, she's like, I'm kind of bored down here, or not down here, but like, I'm kind of bored in here because, blah, blah, blah. I already know some of this stuff. I'm like, you can solve that by trying out for Finesse or, Madrigals. And so she did, which was great. She's a really good artist. She drew me a picture I have hanging in my office. It's like this, you'd have to see it, but it's got like a bunch of stuff that I said, or a picture of me is on there. It's pretty good. It's pretty clever. She's funny. But one thing I remember also from last year, so in Nexus, I have in choir, we stand in circles a lot to like practice. And so, I might be paying attention to this circle over here and people are doing stuff over here, but she had this circle of altos they were like dancing in a circle, and it was cult dancing. And I remember saying like, okay, altos, maybe like stop the cult dancing or something. But I'm pretty sure Allie instigated that in that group. She is a funny, weird girl. Next up is Mariah Bigger. Mariah is one of the co-presidents of Finesse, which again means she has to do a ton of work. And I really appreciate everything that she has done. I think the girls really look up to her, in that group, and which is why they voted her as the president. But I just think that, throughout the year as we went on, she was somebody that they could turn to if they had a question, or, you could tell that it was a priority for her, that the group was a priority for her, and making those girls feel welcome was a priority for her. She was my TA several times, which is great. I love TAs that can help me a lot. And she was actually my first period TA. That's like a special brand of TA. First period TAs, it's my prep. So I kind of get to know them maybe a little more than some of my other TAs. We just talk about a lot of stuff, and they help me a lot because I'm able to go help them do these things. And so it's really nice to have those people. And Mariah was my first period TA a couple times. So she had this, Christiana made this funny video. So Christiana was another one of my first period TAs. And Mariah was like always on her phone. And she was like addicted to it. Maybe still is, I don't know. But Mariah was like always denying it. And so Christiana took this really funny video of her and made this compilation. And so Christiana already sent it to me for me to show you guys. I might have to have her send it to me again. Hopefully I can show it to you right now so you can see this video of Mariah. Next person is Olivia Brimage. Olivia is in the top 20, which, says a lot. It means she works really hard. And that's the one thing about Olivia, I think that it's like what I take away from her. It's like her personality is that she's always working so hard. She worked hard in practice. She worked hard. I talked about earlier how awesome of a performer she was. And that's the thing, because she just works hard all the time. She's working at it. I mean, she was a state track runner. She was really athletic. I know she was always, she like lifting weights for these things and going to all these after school things and just trying to be the best she can at all these things, and she had a really successful high school career, if you will. Really, really awesome. Okay, so this is what I think about Olivia. I like Olivia, but so this is Olivia's face when she is like walking in the hallway, and so she was always like that. And I remember talking to her a couple times, like, "Hey, Olivia." I always say hi to her in the hallway. I say hi to everybody in the hallway that I see from choir, but she, a lot of times she'd just be like, "Hey," or whatever. And so I talked to her about it. I'm like, "Man, you look so ticked off in the hallway." She's like, "No, that's just how I am," or whatever. So she's working on it, and so now she has a little like a fake smile that she knows to put on in the hallway when I'm going to see her. So, I'll see her in the hallway, and she'll be like, I'm like, "Hey, Olivia," and so I saw her walking in the hallway like this, and then she'll like see me, and she'll go, "Hey," but you can tell it's like a scripted face for her, but it's really funny. But we really like Olivia and appreciate all of her hard work. Next is Angie Broom. Angie's my neighbor. You're like, why do you care? I don't know. I just thought I'd share that. I have a neighbor story. So I was on the roof of the house a little while ago, maybe a year or two ago, taking down this satellite dish, and I couldn't, it's on the edge of the roof, and so I'm sitting on the edge of the roof, and I have to take the screwdriver and go behind it, and I can't really see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to take these bolts off with a screwdriver. It's kind of annoying. And I dropped the screwdriver onto the ground, and I was like, man, And so right at that time, Angie walks out of her house, and I was like, yes. She's all dressed up fancy, I think for a date with a boy. I don't know. She was all dressed up kind of fancy, and so I was like, Angie! So she came over and threw the screwdriver up to me, which was so helpful. Hey, look, there's a story for you about Angie being my neighbor. So I want to say that I was really impressed with Angie's musicality, especially as when she was as a freshman and sophomore, and she was good at sight reading. She was aggressive about it. She's aggressive about learning her part, and that's probably one of the main reasons I made her a second soprano. Seconds know that you have to have a good ear and a special ear to be able to hear all those harmonies and things, because it's different than listening for the melody. You really have to listen. It's harder for that second soprano part. So I made sure to put Angie in there, and she was somebody I could always count on her voice part, which is so helpful in choir. You have to have somebody in each section who is really going to nail it and help others around learn it. And so I appreciate Angie being so strong. I also want to say that Angie really cares a lot about others, especially kids. She works at a daycare. She's been there for a while, and working with young kids. And man, during this quarantine, I'm getting it about kids. Gosh, Silas. So I can't imagine a bunch of Silases running around in a location. That's what she works with. So it takes a special person to be able to work with those kids, every day. Next is Devin Byers. Devin, the first thing I want to say about Devin is he's always been so just enthusiastic about choir, and it's been a passion for him, and he's always put in so much effort. I mean, even as a freshman, I remember how excited he was and just how into it he was, even from the get-go. And so, he's been working so hard for for all these years when it comes to choir. And I think that's he's a dance captain this year. I think that's one of the reasons he was a dance captain. It's just because of how much time he puts in on all this stuff. And I think he did a great job as a dance captain. He was, he wanted to make sure everybody knew their part, but he was nice about it and just firm enough so that people would kind of understand, that they needed to get things done, but that he was still he was going to work with them on it. I think that was really cool. I also want to say this. I mentioned it earlier, but I really appreciate, this goes along with Devin's personality, but I appreciate that he helped out Finesse so much this year. He'd have to sit for hours in some of those rehearsals and, just wait for his turn to go up there and practice. And he did a lot of practice with us, and Again, that's a lot of extra time for him, and I really appreciate it. Now, I've only seen the nice side of Devin, but apparently, according to like all these other crazy seniors, there's this mean side to him called Debin. But Devin, I'm going to be honest, I know that you're a nice boy and that these girls are just crazy, so I'm on your side on this one. Next up is Kelsey Callahan. Kelsey is our only 3-year member of Finesse, which is pretty cool. So she has a lot of experience in there and is able to really help everyone because, there's something about experiencing a choir once or twice that really helps you to kind of know the flow of the way things are supposed to work, and you can help guide others. So, appreciate Kelsey for all that. I kind of watched Kelsey grow up. Kelsey was my neighbor. She lived 2 houses down when we lived in Heartland Crossing, and I lived there for like 10 years. So I kind of watched her grow up and, playing in the backyard, or she would come over sometimes and, like, who knows, run around with Hayden and Riley and different things. And so, that was kind of fun to watch that. And I know that she's kind of gone through some, some difficult things in the past couple of years. And I guess I just, want you to know, Kelsey, that, you just need to remain positive. And I think Kelsey will be fine. She's going to be fine. She just needs to remain positive through all of this and work through it. And, you'll end up doing just really great. Next is Kaylee Kuhn. I still remember when Kaylee came to audition at, for choir. She and her sister came in, and they were new students, and her mom had, her 25 brothers and sisters in tow with her that day. And so I remember her coming in to sing, and she was a Millennium that year, and I was really impressed with her tone quality, even as a freshman. But gosh, it's just gotten so much better, throughout these years. And she was our Hermione in our show, which, that was based a lot on that audition for that solo. And so she had to do some acting this year. She did a great job. So, Kaylee's just really, really like done an awesome job with her voice, and she, like solo competitions has done awesome. It's just that she's really like blossomed in her voice, which is great. Kaylee also is really good with kids. She comes over to our house for when we host a small group at our house for church. And so there's like, 4, 5, 6 kids here. And she's one of the people that helps out, and she does awesome with them. And, even through this quarantine, when we haven't had our small group, Silas still will mention Kaylee, or sometimes Mary or Carradine, and just kind of ask about them and if they're coming over or whatever. So, she's made an impact on him, and, he really likes her as well. And I think that, you have to trust somebody a lot to allow them to be with your kids. It's, it's one thing to, for people to say like, oh, I'll babysit your kids anytime. And you're like, no, but I think it takes, you really have to trust somebody to allow them to be with your kids. So Kaylee's a really great person. Next up is Jonah Cordray. So Jonah, joined us last year, and so thankful that he did. I don't know if this is a thing, but it's like a Cordray blessing, if you will. It's happened with his brother and with Jonah. When they're juniors, we made it to state finals in concert choir. So I hope there's a slew more of these Cordrays to be joining us, their junior year. But we are so happy that Jonah came to us, and I think that Jonah has been a leader for us, even though he's only been in the choir department a few years, which is really cool. I think that people look up to him, and I think more people than he thinks look up to him in choir. But I appreciate all that. I also I like his personality a lot, and I think that he was super hilarious on that skit. Sometimes you don't know how somebody's going to behave in the skit. You're like, okay, here's your part, but he had to act like this big, obnoxious person, and he was like awesome at it. And so I just appreciate Jonah's personality and his sense of humor, and the effort that he put in while he was in choir. Next is Lexi Curry. I think Lexi is super funny, um, especially when she's like venting her frustrations to me. Um, I'm not going to name anything else, but there were lots of times when Lexi would talk to me in the hallway and kind of vent her frustrations about other activities that were not choir. And so, gosh, she was just so funny about it. And she was like, "Well, but, you know, you know how she is. But I like Lexi, and I think it was so funny when she would do that kind of stuff. Her dad's a locksmith. Wanted to mention that. I know it's not Lexi, but man, that came in clutch when I had to pick a lock this year. When I had to break into a room that someone had broken something off in and messed it up at a competition. But her dad came in clutch there. Thanks for that. Lexi, thanks for being born so that your dad could do that for us. Also, Lexi, I just want to say that she's really strong-willed, and she's just adamant about doing well and adamant about what she wants. And so I think that's the main reason she made madrigals, is just because, she worked so hard, and you could tell that's what she really wanted. And so she kind of worked her way up through the ranks to get here in madrigals, and she's done an awesome job in here. And I think if you would have said to me when I saw her as a freshman that she was going to be in madrigals as a senior, I kind of been like, nah, I don't know about that, But after seeing how hard she works and just how strong-willed she is, she made it and has done such a great job. Next is Kylie Dunn. Kylie is another senior in finesse, and has come so far since her freshman year. And Kylie, again, was like one of these really timid girls, and she's still not like super crazy outgoing or anything, but she's more than she was when she was a freshman. But when she was a freshman, she barely sang, and as she's gotten more and more confident, it's just changed so much. And so now, gosh, when it's time for like singing high notes, normally what I do is I'll say, okay, sopranos, who wants to sing that high note? And in finesse, it's like every girl. So I'll have them sing it one at a time. And I remember being so impressed with her, just those high notes, the past couple years, really, because before she was afraid to do that, and to see her grow and to say like, it's no big deal now to do that. She sounded really good on it. And so it's awesome to see just how far she's come, in these past 4 years. Okay, next is Karis Eicher. The biggest thing about Karis is that just how hard of a worker she is. And I've mentioned it multiple times, but I cannot say enough how much I appreciate all of the time she spent outside of choir helping. She was there to load and unload basically every single time. She would come early for the madrigal dinner, stay late for the madrigal dinners. She would, I don't even know. Anything that we had to do for choir, she was there to help out, which is just so awesome. And it's just her family. I think that's just the way she was raised. And I talked earlier about Ashton and, and about Alan, and that's the kind of way their whole family is, And so we're going to miss a lot of that next year. I don't know if Karis isn't here, or if the Eicher family isn't here, what are we going to do? But so I think I appreciate all that. Karis also works so hard at being a musician. She's an outstanding musician. She's the only girl 3-year member in madrigals this year, and for the past couple years she has been. There's going to be some more. There's some sophomores that made it for next year, but as far as the past couple years, she's been the only one. And I recognized her talent when she started taking lessons from me. I think it was her 8th grade year, maybe going into her freshman year. I think it was that, or either going into her 8th grade year. I can't remember, but I do remember picking out the music, and I don't know their voices super well until they've been at the high school. So I remember thinking, okay, I'll just get her some music and see what this is like. And, it was decently difficult, but not super difficult, because again, I didn't know her voice. But I knew Ashton, and he was a good singer. And So I thought, okay, I'll pick something kind of difficult. And she came into lessons, and I was impressed right away. And the chunk that we would normally take an entire lesson probably took 10 minutes, maybe. And I thought to myself, oh, what am I supposed to do now, you know? So we learned like 2/3 of the song in the first lesson, which was really crazy. And so we were able to do lots of things that summer. But I'd kind of underestimated her abilities, you know, and she's been to state solo and ensemble multiple times and has done solos for us all over the place. And she just works so hard all the time, you know, for this stuff. And so the thing I'm most excited about is she's going to be a choir teacher, and you know, she's going to Ball State, and is going to do so awesome there. And I'm so excited that we're going to be able to be colleagues here in 4 or 5 years. It's going to be really cool to see how she develops as she goes through college. Next is Seth Epling. Seth, man. Seth is one of the weirdest kids. He's one of the weirdest kids ever. He does stuff like, gosh, I'm trying to think. Okay, he does stuff like putting random things on my piano. I mean random. Like, okay, I got this metal straw here. He would just like sit it on the piano while I'm out in the hall, you know, greeting people as they come in. I come around, I take attendance, I go back over to my piano, and I'm like, I look at it, and the first couple times Seth did something, I would be like, who put this here? But eventually I learned, like, Seth, what is this? And it's not like that's just, I mean, he put like, you know, Taco Bell packets on there, or, you know, in his construction class, he would have taken a piece of wood and put 3 screws in and just set it on my desk. I mean, on my piano. And I was like, sometimes I'm like, Seth, what is this? He's like, I made that for you. And for most people, you'd be like, okay, Seth. But in real life, he probably did make it for me. What a goofball guy. But I like Seth a lot. I think Krista said it, that he's like this giant teddy bear, basically. So he's like really like tough looking on the outside, but he has like a warm heart on the inside. And gosh, he's so strong. Before he hurt his back, he was doing, I talked to him lots of times about his weightlifting stuff. He did a bunch of weightlifting, and I don't know what it was called, but he would like take these giant, heavy, I think they were like, it's like that stones stuff, like those huge things that you see people lift up, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And he would do competitions with these things, but then he hurt his back and was not able to do that anymore. But anyway, Seth is so strong. So he would, you know, I think that he looked really strong, really tough, but some of the times you would hear Seth talk, you'd know that he really cared about choir. And you know, it's evident, an example of this is after Kirsten passed away, you know, one of the things he gave to me and left was in his construction class, he had taken time to like make a letter K, as an ornament. And so on our, you know, whatever you believe in tree every year in the choir room, that's one of the ornaments that hangs up there. And it's just something to show that, you know, it's not like, and he didn't say like, hey everybody, look what I did, you know. He just kind of gave it to me and said, yeah, I made this, you know, kind of in memory of Kirsten. And like, what a nice gesture from somebody. And he did it because he was sincere about it, not because he was looking for some kind of recognition. But he's just a really great guy. Next up is Carly Even. Carly took me to the top 20. She didn't really take me there because there wasn't a top 20 banquet this year, but she was the one who invited me, which I appreciated, and I liked all of her nice comments. I haven't had a chance to talk to her about it, you know, since the program aired, but I appreciate what she said. It was nice. Carly is like this. She's kind of sassy. She's like good at like she's like hot and cold, you know. And so she's sort of like, she could be like, well, but I can't believe all this. And then the next minute she's like, you know, smiley smiles. And, but she's like this a lot, which actually kind of helped with when she was in the skit. She was really funny in the Magical Dinner skit this year. I thought like she did an awesome job with that character. She was really good at it. Okay, so Carly, I got a couple stories about Carly, and here's the first story. So our family is good friends with the Halstead family, and like Carly and R were like best friends, and so this was probably her 8th grade year. I was like over at the Halstead's house, and I think I'd kind of known Carly a little bit just through R because I'd seen her before, and um, so I think I was texting on R's phone to Carly about stuff, but Carly sent this video of her singing in. It really wasn't that bad, but I made it to sound like it was awful. And she like flipped out. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you showed him that!" And oh my gosh, and that's kind of how Carly is. She kind of goes crazy with stuff like that. That's a funny thing. Here's another story, everybody. So let's pretend this iPad is my computer. Okay. So one day it was like, I don't know, February maybe or March. I don't know. Okay, she's like in my face, bombarding me to do something. I don't know what it was. It wasn't important. I was like, hold on a minute, because I had to go in the room, take attendance, come out, and like we were in like a hurry here. So I had my computer with me because I was getting ready to do all this. I go into my office. She's still following me. I'm like, just wait, let me do this. Okay, and so I'm holding the computer like this in front of my face. She knows I'm coming out of the office. Okay, and I'm like looking at it, like doing something, and she just turns and slams right into me, and so it goes, and it like basically almost knocks out my teeth. I was like, oh, it might have even been bleeding. I don't even know. But I was like so ticked because she was like following me. She slammed right into me, and then she's like going to make up some story. Right now, she's probably telling whoever she's watching this with, no, that's not what happened. Here's what happened. Bull. That's exactly what happened. She ran straight into me and knocked that computer into my teeth. I'll never forget it, Carly. Okay, next is Megan Fenley. Megan's another finesse senior. And here's the thing about Megan. She's a small girl, and she looks so timid. But all of her friends tell me that she's like the meanest one. And I'm like, really? Come on, man. Megan, I think you're nice. But like, so I talk with Mariah or, Adrian or whomever, and they were always like, oh no, she's so mean. You should have heard what Megan said to me. You should get on Megan because she said this. I'm like, Megan said that? I don't know. So again, I think Megan's a nice girl. Megan has become a really strong singer. She's also like, she's been in the ensemble before for Magical Dinner stuff, and she's just so solid on her part. I remember being impressed with her. I think even as a sophomore and junior, just with how well she holds her part, like on her own, and she's gotten better about singing out. And so, especially this year, it's nice to have somebody who's done it before and is like really solid about finding their part. So, we're really thankful to have had Megan in finesse this year. Okay, next is Anna. I know she goes by Anna Rosa, but like in my attendance, she was like Anna Fidencio, so that she had like 17 or 18 names. I don't know. She'll probably never see this video, but I just thought I should mention her. Anna came to us from Brazil this year, and I just want to appreciate how open she was about trying things. We had a Q&A session with her and asked about Brazil. She was willing to talk about that. We, when I knew she was coming, I picked out a Brazilian piece. And so she taught us the Portuguese and like what it meant and how to say it, and which was really helpful. And so in Nexus, she was able to like do that for us, and we sang a song in there. She had an awesome voice, and so like just hearing her solos were so good, and singing like at competitions. She had a solo in the competition show as well, but just like she sang a solo at competitions, it's just a great voice. And so we're really happy that she was able to come and share her talents with us, and I hope that everything is going well for her in Brazil. Next is Allie Grigsby. Allie was one of the other co-presidents of Finesse, and I think she was voted for that because the girls could really tell that she cared a lot about them, and Allie has um, just like a warm personality, where she's just nice to people and approachable about things. And I think that's an important quality to have as a person. And, so nice to have her. She was always like, here's some reminders, girls, or here's this, or, just always willing to do what she needed to for Finesse. And we really appreciate that, and appreciate that aspect about just going out of her way to make sure that she took care of the girls in Finesse. Also, Allie has come such a far way since the freshman year. Gosh, again, she's one of those girls who, like, you aren't sure if they're going to continue on in choir, but she did, and she gained confidence obviously as she went on, and ability, and so really thankful that she was in Finesse. Next is Abby Grimes. Abby's very passionate about concert choir. I talked a little bit about it before, but Abby, she bugs me about it a lot, which is great. I like talking to her about concert choir stuff. But she also, I mentioned she made this this document with all of the Group 1 songs on there, and like comments about each one, and like what if she liked it, or a lot of information about it. And you may think, oh, wow, that's great. But you have to understand how much time this takes. There's probably 100 or 150 songs on the Group 1 list. And it's, just listening to those songs. Imagine just listening to 100 songs that are between 3, and some of them are, Leonardo, that's 10 minutes long. I mean, listening to that much music in itself takes time. And then to provide comments and things. And it just shows how passionate she is about it. But that passion also was able to spread to others this year, which is great. I love that she was so excited about the concert music and really wanted people to work on it, because she really wanted to be good. And you need people who are really motivated to do that in choir, because it helps out a lot. Oh gosh, Abby was like one of the girls who, when she was a sophomore, bothered me probably the most. She just bothered me. No, she bugged me the most about her audition song. I don't know. I feel like she probably changed it 25 times, and she used to. There's a group of them used to constantly bombard me, and Abby was one of them. Where they would just be like, "Well, what about this? Or what about my song for this? Or would you sing this? Or what if?" Oh my gosh, it was like constant, and like I feel like she was always changing her song and constantly worried about it. But she got in, to Madrigals her junior year, and so it all worked out. But man, she used to bug me about that a lot. I do want to say that I know that Abby has been through a lot in the past couple of years, but has really done a good job at working through it, and has become really positive, especially here, like this past, I feel like, semester. And I'm really proud of the young lady she has become. I mean, it's been really great to watch her grow. Next, Carradine Jones. Carradine is like a great leader and just really responsible person. It's like she was in charge of a lot of clubs and like officers and a lot of things all throughout high school, and I could always count on her to like run an errand or something. She had an internship this year, and so she was, I don't know her exact schedule, but there were some days when she could come back to the school and help after she left and went to her internship and came back or whatever. But man, during magical dinner time, during the time when we made all those potions for our shows, and had to put them on all those trays and things. I mean, she was one of the people who came back and helped so much, and she was just so reliable. And I think that's so important, an important attribute in somebody, is just being reliable. And so I'm so thankful that she was there to help us with that. Listen to this. Carradine, I also want to say this first. Carradine is like also so good with kids. I know she's got younger siblings that she helps out with, but she was also one of the people who would help out with our small group with our kids. And, Silas was just asking about her like a couple days ago. Actually, I didn't get a chance to ask Carradine this. Carradine, you sent us that open house thing. What in the heck are you like laying in your dress in the water in a creek? Because that's what it looks like. I didn't look at it that closely, and Riley said, "Hey, what's she laying in?" And I kind of was like, I don't know. And so I kind of glanced and I like went up to it and I was like, I think she's laying in a creek. So I hope that dress is okay if that's what you're laying in. Anyway, Silas really cared about her, and Carradine was, she's so good with kids and so willing to help out, which I appreciated. Also, I want to say this, a couple things about Carradine. If you don't know about her teeth, man, she has like the most interesting teeth story. I feel like she's had braces 6 or 7 times. She's told me all this, I just can't keep it straight. And like brackets and expanders and like her jaw and like this and moving this, and I don't even know, man. But she's like a dental wonder. I don't even know how to say it, but she just had so much stuff done to her teeth. But it also helped her because she had like this patented smile where in practice, instead of having to actually smile, she would just take her lips and rest them on her braces. And she did that for like forever. That was like the patented Carradine smile. Also, Carradine has this alter ego when she wakes up in the middle of the night. I guess, I don't remember the alter ego's name. Karen, I don't even know what. No, they've told me before, but I can't keep it straight. But I guess she'd wake up in the middle of the night and she would either have a conversation with somebody or like scream or do something and then like not know about it and go back to sleep, and then they talk to her about it later. But she did it all the time. Maybe she probably still does it all the time, where she wakes up in the middle of the night and she has this alter ego. Kind of interesting. Next, Elizabeth Casper. Elizabeth is such a passionate, performer and singer, and I think that it's been so awesome to watch her like just grow and be so good at what she does. She's a good singer. She's done, solos for us, obviously, and she always works on it. She works hard on it, and she'd come after school a lot to make it better. She just did a great job, and she's really good with that criticism. But man, her acting skills are so good. I love watching her act. I remember, I watched her in all the spring plays, but even when she didn't have the lead role, like this year she has the lead role. But even when I watch her and she didn't have the lead role, I think, man, that girl's like the best one up there. She's just so natural, and she looked like she was enjoying what she was doing, and she was really into the character. She did it in the Magical Dinner skit. I thought she was so funny in the Magical Dinner skit. But it's like, whatever you hand her, like character-wise, she can pull it off. And I know that she's going to go to school for it, and I'm really excited to see where that takes her. I think she's just so passionate about that, and I think it's awesome to see. I also know that, she's been working through some difficult things the past couple of years, and I'm happy to see that she's kind of, she has her own way about dealing with it, which I think is okay. And I know that, for her, she's gonna end up doing fine, and she'll end up, being a really positive person. Next today, it's Christiana Likens. Oh, Christiana. There's so much I could say about Christiana. A lot of people, when I go write these things about the seniors, I jot little notes to myself. I think, okay, what can I tell about this person? Or, but with Christiana, there's I had to filter out a lot of stuff because it's Christiana. Before I get started on some of those things, I do want to say that Christiana is, the biggest thing about Christiana is she's really compassionate and such a genuinely nice person. She got at the SPAD circle, got tons of compliments from people just saying how much they appreciated her and how nice she was to them, and she's such a nice person. And I know that she helps out at home a lot and has with her brothers, and has just really stepped up. And that's a hard thing to do as a teenager, is to help out with all of your family a lot. But Christiana really does it, does a good job at it. And I think she's going to make an awesome mom someday, just because she's so caring about others. Now let's talk about some other things about Christiana. First of all, Christiana cannot seem to remember where she's supposed to stand on the stage. Everybody in show choir knows there'll be times when I have to re-block something. Wouldn't be a show choir practice without it. And so, I'll say, okay, everyone, go to song 1, position 1. Everybody goes there. I look at the formation. Okay, everybody go to position 2. Everybody goes there. Not Christiana. Christiana would be, kind of looking around while everybody else is like in their place. Or sometimes she'd be standing in a row of boys. And I'm like, Christiana, do you see that's a row of boys? Yeah, but I'm just not sure where I'm supposed to be, So eventually we had to assign people to know where Christiana stands. So like Peyton, would stand behind her, and Peyton would just like move her over to her spot. This was a common thing. So we had people really help Christiana know where to stand in her spots. Oh my gosh. That girl. Another quick story is this. A lot of people know that I can't smell. Maybe you do, maybe you know that, maybe you don't. I can smell a couple things, but I just really can't smell in general. Christiana can't seem to get it in her head that I can't smell. Now, again, she was one of my first period TAs, so they know me a little bit better, maybe should know. I can't tell you how many times she asked me if I could smell something, like, hey, I don't know what she'd have me smell, but, hey, smell my watch, or I don't know. I'd be like, the first couple of times I thought she was making a joke because I can't smell, like, haha, Christiana. Then I realized she doesn't remember. And I'm like, Christiana, I can't smell. She's like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, and her laugh that you guys know what she does. I bet she's asked me 30 or 40 times if I can smell something, and she's still, I'm sure as I'm telling the story, she's like, oh yeah, he can't smell. She probably didn't even remember it then. Anyway, but we do like Christiana a lot, and we appreciate everything she's done for us. Next up is Ashlyn Malloy. Ashlyn, the thing that I want to say most about Ashlyn, I think she cares so much about all the things she's involved in. She was a runner, she was a swimmer, obviously she's in choir, and especially as a swimmer, it just takes a lot of time away from choir because of the two seasons clash so much. And Ashlyn really made it a priority for her to try to attend as much of each practice. And I know that she would get stressed about it. She used to tell me all the time, and she used to get really stressed about swimming in general. But I'm really happy she worked through it and was able to come out on top in a good way. It takes a lot to work through some of that kind of stuff, but she just really cared about all of those things, and so was able to do that in our group as well. I also think that this kind of ties in with, she really wanted to improve herself as a singer. And, for example, she wanted to sing the Star Spangled Banner at the swim meets. And so anybody who wants to do that has to come in and work with me and, get it approved. And so, most people can't just come in and sing it and then be okay. And I'm like, okay, great. I tell them to work on a few things and come back. And Ashlyn was really wanted to get it right. So she would come in, work on it. I'd say, go do a few things, practice this. She would come back and work on it again. And she did that multiple times. She did that with her solos. She just really wanted to improve and was always about putting in that time to do that, which is a really awesome quality. Next, Zach McKinney. Zach, who's in the top 20. Zach is a super cool guy. The thing I appreciate most about Zach is that I was able to talk to him about board games and video games, and he actually knew what I was talking about. Some people only play like the popular video games, like I don't even know what's popular right now, but Fortnite when it used to be popular or whatever. That's like the only game they play because they're bandwagoners. They don't venture out to seek other good games. But Zach was like played lots of cool games and was able to do that, and lots of cool board games, so I could talk to him about stuff. And I think that's I really like having people like that in choir, so I can talk to them about that kind of stuff. Zach is like a really good low bass too. I remember when he was in lessons, maybe his sophomore year. And in lessons we sing songs, of course, but we're working on our voices. So I was like testing out his low range, and I was like, man, this kid can sing so low. And I think that when he was a sophomore, maybe like a D or a C sharp, maybe in lessons. Maybe it was his junior year, he was a C sharp, but that's really low. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Because having those kind of basses allows you to sing a lot of different types of music. And so, I was really thankful that, Zach had that awesome low voice. Also, Zach's just a really good musician in general. Like he is really involved in music. And, he did a lot of stuff in band, and he played lots of instruments, and obviously he was good in choir. And he's going to go on and do some things in music next year, which is great. And so it's, we really appreciate and we'll miss Zach's like personality. He's funny, and then also miss like his voice as well. Next is Jacob O'Neill. Jacob I was really glad he joined us, just recently this year, and I'm really glad that he did. It's really hard when you're thrown into a group like Madrigals and you've never done choir before. And it's not just about the singing. That part you can kind of pick up on a little bit, but it's all the training you've had coming up to there, like sight reading, or, how to read music in general, or what these terminology means, and what your tone quality is, and blending and balancing, and just the way things work, and like how fast you have to memorize music, or there's just a ton of stuff. And so to be thrown into that, it's really hard. And he's done a great job with it. And he's come a long way as far as like learning that musicality stuff. He's doing a great job with it. He also has done a great job with like performing, has gotten to be a great performer. I was really impressed with his dancing abilities when he first started at camp, but then has just gotten so much better, and is really putting in the time to be good. And so I appreciate that. And it's great to see just how far he's come, and that he's like a nice guy to go along with it. Like he's fun, and he's polite, and he wants. I guess I feel like he wants what's best for the whole group. Next is Emily Reynolds. Emily's also in the top 20. She was our secretary for Madrigals, and they're voted for that position, but it takes a special person to be the secretary. They can't be afraid to tell their friends, like, hey, you're retarded, mark them down, or you can't take flack from people when they tell you things about, like, oh, well, this is what happened, you have to just mark them, and you have to be, strong about that kind of stuff. And she is, which is great. Emily's like one of the weirdest girls, man. Emily, so she, she's quirky. I don't even know how to explain her. Okay, so like, some of her friends showed me a TikTok once that Emily has made. I don't know if it's like her most popular one or whatever, but I think it was about putting on makeup. I'm sure people know what I'm talking about, who've seen it. But I was like, what is this? Not only what is this, because I think TikTok is dumb in general, but it's like her personality in the TikTok, and how goofy she is and weird she is. Oh man, Emily's so weird. I like Emily. I'm just saying. Emily also, but there was another person who worked really, really hard. She was really involved in sports as well, and really successful in sports. And she's also really successful in choir, and it's just because she works so hard. She works hard at all this stuff that she does. Again, she's top 20, great athlete, great in choir, and so that kind of stuff is the work ethic part. I think is something that will carry with her, as she goes throughout college. Next is Cheyenne Rippey. Cheyenne is another finesse senior, and Cheyenne had some health issues that she kind of had to work through. And that, I mean, it takes a lot to do that. And meaning because, you know, it's like, it's one thing to get a little bit sick and have to miss school for a couple days. It's another thing to have some real medical issues, and even you don't know what's going on, and the doctors are giving you different medicines, and it's messing up, you know, your body, and you have to miss school for it, and you know, so she had to work through a lot of stuff, and it's hard, especially because when you're in a group like Finesse, and I mean, in general, people don't know where you are, you know, and they could have the wrong idea, like, oh, she's skipping or whatever, but maybe she's really has some medical stuff, but she can't share that with everybody, and you know, it's nobody's business but her own. And I think that it's a tough thing to work through when that kind of comes through, but she did. She worked through it, and you know, she's going to graduate, and she's doing well, and you know, I appreciate that, and I think that you know, I'm glad that things are going to work out for her in a positive way. Next, Katie Schaefer. All right, I know I said this already, but gosh, her voice is so beautiful. I mean, I could listen to it all the time. And the funniest thing about it was she was always kind of worried about it, like, we were being lessons in the summer or something, and you know, she can sing really whatever she wants, and it sounds good. But she was always worried, like, okay, we'd be singing a classical song, and I'd say, okay, this would be good for you for, you know, competition season if you want, or whatever. And she's always kind of like, well, you know, I don't know what, I could tell that she was thinking, I don't know what people are going to think about this song specifically. And I'm like, man, no one's going to care what song you sing because they're listening to your voice. You know, it's just so good. And she's worked at it. It's not like, you know, it wasn't magically like that. She's worked at it. When she was a freshman, she was kind of timid about it, even a little bit as a sophomore, but as her sophomore year kind of kept going, she just, I mean, more and more, how awesome her voice is. And she's had solos for us, you know, a Magical Dinner, and sung solos at competitions, been so good, and has placed really well, just awesome to hear her sing. She was also our queen. And what's funny about Katie is, I think a lot of Katie's friends say that she's like the weirdest one out of all of them. You know, she's like quirky, weird, and she does like all the, I don't even know how to explain it, but she does all these little things like this, and I don't even know. She's just so weird. She would come in and work like on Christiana and Peyton and Katie did a trio, and so we started it last year, and they came in to work on it, and Katie would always just make these weird comments, and I just don't even know how to describe it. But all of our friends know, you know what I'm talking about. But they were like funny, and it's just quirky. Another thing about Katie is she is not generally on time. That's something Katie struggles with a little bit. I remember, I think it was Peyton maybe needed a ride once to one of their little sessions, and but Katie realizes it, so Katie goes, I shouldn't ask me because I'm not going to get up that early, so, you know, probably not a good idea. So it's funny because she knows she's late to things, you know, and I hope that maybe in college she'll get better at that. I don't know. Next up is Gracie Smith. Gracie was the other female president of Madrigals, and man, Gracie has done so much stuff for us, especially this year, but she was like our t-shirt designer for multiple years in a row. We have that sweet Nexus one. Oh gosh, she had some cool t-shirt designs. Anyway, but Gracie works so hard all the time. You know, she gets it from her mom, I don't know, but it's just like her work ethic is awesome, especially during the Magical Dinner this year. It was so helpful to have somebody at Mount Gilead who had been through the Magical Dinner before and was able to help us transition from the previous location to Mount Gilead, because she did an internship at Mount Gilead. Gosh, she did so much stuff there, and I could say, like, I could check on things like, hey, how is this going? And Grace was like, yeah, we're on it. We already did that today. Or, hey, we already got all the tables set up. Or, hey, we got the senior banners hung, or whatever. She did so much stuff for us for the Magical Dinner, and it was so helpful. You know, I can't appreciate that enough. Another thing is that, you know, I think that Gracie really cared a lot she still does, but just cares so much for choir. It was such a major priority for her, you know. Gosh, she just, you could tell the passion that she had for it. She's a really good, obviously, performer and things too, but it's not just that. It's just that you could tell that she really cared about the members of the group and really cared about, just really cared about wanting the best for everyone. The other thing is, so Gracie loves Ghost. Ghost is our dog. I hate Ghost. Hate him. I don't want to go on a rant about Ghost, but so Ghost, we have a white lab. He's like maybe 9 months old. I don't even know. And this dog, oh, he annoys me so much. But here's an example of Ghost. And why am I telling you this? Because Gracie comes over here. She would come over here like every day while he was a puppy and let him out in the middle of the day while we were at school before she went to her internship, which is why I'm telling this, because I appreciate, you know, that she did that. But so Ghost, like, here's an example of what Ghost does. He did this the other day. So he'll find something on the floor, like a spot on the floor, I mean, and he'll act like there's poison there. I don't know, but there's literally nothing there. There wasn't ever anything there. There's nothing there. And he'll like put his nose down to it and he'll kind of jump back a little bit. But it's like an invisible laser barrier of death that he will not cross. And he'll like kind of go up to it and come back and then whimper. And the other day I sent Gracie a video of Ghost doing this. And like I only got the last 30 seconds of it where he finally came around the invisible barrier. But it had been going on for 5 minutes. And so then he's like, you know, then Gracie's like, oh my gosh, I love Ghost. I missed him so much. Oh, Gracie, you can have Ghost. In fact, I'm going to give you a present for helping out with Ghost so many times. It's a beautiful white lab. I know you just got a new dog. So, Lori, hope you're okay with that. I'm going to be dropping off a dog at your house. Actually, I would, but my whole family likes Ghost. So I'll just have to bear with it. But I appreciate Gracie letting him out all the time so that there wasn't even more of a mess than there probably already would have been. Next is Olivia Smith. So I remember when Olivia was like this really timid freshman, and she like barely sang. She was always like to me like this nice girl who just, you know, wasn't really gonna let. I don't know. I didn't see her making madrigals as you know ever. Not that sounded bad. Not that she was bad. It's just that she barely sang, you know. And so as she's, especially like last year, as she's gone through the year, she's just gotten so much better and so much more confident, which has been great. You know, and so obviously she is in madrigals now, but it's just because, you know, she worked hard. And again, I think it was something that's like that she really wanted. And so she put in the time. She kind of made her way up through all the different groups. The other thing that's really cool about Olivia is that we both have a family member who has autism. And, you know, why is that cool? I mean, it's not necessarily cool to have autism, but it's cool that we can talk about it because it's one thing to know somebody with autism. It's another thing to live with somebody who has autism, you know, and there's all different types of autism. And it's just cool to be able to talk to somebody else, you know, who shares that with you. And we both have, so like, she has a brother named Silas, and obviously I have Silas as my son. So it's another thing that we're twins about. We're not really twins. But I just appreciate having conversations with her over the years about that kind of stuff, because she's really really open about it, and just really, like, she's really willing to talk about stuff like that, which is cool. Next is Madison Smither. Madison really likes video games as well, which is cool. I found this out one time when it was during finals one year, maybe her junior year, sophomore, junior year. And I was still sitting in my room grading finals because I had some work to do, and she was waiting for a ride, so she came in and started talking to me, and I was like really impressed with her knowledge of video games. I bet we talked for 20 minutes about video games, which was really cool. Another cool thing about Madison, she's a really good artist. She was my secret snow buddy last year, and every day would draw me like a cool picture, like lots of Star Wars characters or Marvel characters because I love Marvel, and just all this cool stuff. It was so cool to have somebody like that as your secret snow buddy. She put in so much time on that, which was awesome. There's a picture hanging up on the trophies in the room of Black Panther. Oh, it's so good. And, that she spent a lot of time on those things. And so I appreciate somebody who's willing to do that kind of stuff. It says a lot about her. I also know that, she's gone through some tough times in high school, past couple of years. And I guess I hope, Madison, that you know that you have so many friends and people that care about you and are willing to help you in whatever way you need it. You just have to ask for help. And I know that everything will turn out well for you. Next is Cody Spears. Cody. Man, it's hard to describe Cody to somebody who doesn't know him, like just how quirky he is, and he's like, some of the stuff he says, you're like, what? But everybody who knows Cody knows what I'm talking about. It's just like, it's just Cody, and we like Cody. He's just a weird guy. I'm really thankful for Cody and how hard he's worked on his voice, and how he's really led the tenors. We lost a lot of good tenors last year, and Cody has really stepped up, and especially I remember at camp, he was just like singing out on everything, and he's like not holding back, and it was just making it awesome, which was so helpful for us, because you have to have people in each section, as I said earlier, that really lead. And so Cody's done a great job to help the other tenors feel more confident help them feel more confident with themselves because of his leadership, and we're going to really miss that next year. Next is Ashley Striegel. Ashley is one of our dance captains in Spotlighters, and I think that role was so important to her, which is why I mentioned it first. She worked so hard to get it, and she was so passionate about being a dance captain and about really fulfilling that role, and she did a great job this year. She's been a cheerleader for a while, and it's hard to, especially be in competition cheer and do choir, just because of what you have to miss. Ashley has done such an awesome job, and she got hurt, and so it's just like there's a lot of stuff that she had to go through, but she still made sure to know all of her stuff, made sure to be available for people for help, and she still did like all of the stuff, even though sometimes she probably shouldn't have been doing it. She did it just because she's so passionate about choir, and you could tell that she really cared about it and still really cares about it, and it's great to have somebody like that in there. Also, it's hard when you're tall friends can understand. It's hard when you're tall, and especially a girl, to be good. Oh, that was a bird that just flew into the window. Hopefully it's okay. It's hard to be tall and a girl in choir, because you have two options, but if you want to be in the front, you have to be legit good. And that was Ashley. Man, she was such a good performer, and she was able to be in the front all the time, right in the middle, so that your eyes were drawn to her, just because she did such a good job performing, and she worked really hard to do it too. All right, our last senior is Mariah York. Mariah was our senior in Nexus. Now, we had technically two with Anna, but as far as somebody who's like come through the program for 4 years, Mariah was our only senior in that regard in Nexus, and Mariah did a great job. I'm really glad that Mariah, finally started coming out of her shell a little bit. She was just so timid for multiple years in choir, but has really grown out of that, which is great. And I like having Mariah in class. She's singing out more as a soprano, and I mean we did some individual singing this year, and I could really hear that she's gotten better and better and better as we do that. I also want to say that Mariah is really nice to others. I know she has kind of a sassy side to her sometimes, which is funny, but she's really nice to other people in her section, really nice to other members of the choir, and you need somebody like that, especially as a senior in your groups. All right, well, that kind of concludes all of our seniors. What a great class of people to work with. You know, I'm hoping this summer to be able to have them all over so we can, so I can give them some of the stuff they've gotten and just be able to hang out with them. You know, I kind of felt like we left on a note that was just really kind of unfair. And so I want to be able to meet with them one more time. And so don't hold me to that. Maybe we can have a socially distanced party, I don't know, in July or something. So coming up next, there's going to be a few senior ads that people have placed. We had them in Wagon Trails, but I also thought I'd put them on this video so you kind of see those for a couple seconds, see those seniors. And then also, after this is Give Me Wings. Give Me Wings this year was a little different. Everybody was supposed to submit a video of them singing Give Me Wings. And I'll tell you, this is a really hard thing to do, because one of the things I found out right away that we do in choir a lot is listen. I mean, that's one of the most important, you know, things to learn in choir, is that when you perform, you listen to each other. And so it was really hard in this video to line everybody up, because it's like each person singing a solo, you know. So it was really tricky to kind of do, but I want to say thanks to Justin Aker so much for his help on this video. You know, I'd never used Premiere before. This is like what professionals use for, you know, for video and editing, and I use After Effects, and he's done a lot of that stuff, so he really helped me. Gosh, I mean, I had a couple days ago, some of these files take between, you know, 15 to 20 hours to render, and, you know, to make it ready to be able to watch it, and gosh, so, you know, I guess I didn't understand that it was going to take this much time to do all that rendering. So anyway, there's times when Justin came over to our house, he took a bunch of the files, and then take them back to his house and render them on his computer, because he has Premiere there, then bring them back over. And so he really helped out a lot. We had a ton of Zoom calls, and I'm making a big deal out of it just because I appreciate his help so much. This song, Give Me Wings, it's usually we sing it at Spring Spec, and it's just it's a song to say thank you to our parents. So, you know, it's something we just don't do enough. We really appreciate, I appreciate what the parents do, but the students really appreciate you parents as well, even if they don't say it all the time. So this song is for you. After this is over, that concludes the awards, and thanks for a really awesome year this year.